I have to admit, you sit and talk to this man, I learned more from him in about an hour and a half than I would have been able to go out and look up on my own. And our little enterprise is getting to the point where, and this has always been my recommendation to council, when it's something that's very specialized, you need a specialist rather than me, the generalist. And we're starting to get into realms of federal communications law and some other things that
I'd make a motion that we engage Eric Cecil as outside legal counsel and authorize City Manager Hale to sign the representation and fee agreement.
Second.
McLaughlin.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Archbeck.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Sheep.
Aye. All right, we have no draft resolutions or ordinances. We have no other items of business. At this time, I will open it up again for any citizen input. Is there a citizen that would like to speak before council? If you would state your name and your address, please. State your name and address.
Oh, Mark Rogers. This thing on. Same,
Address,
I'm sorry?
address, address.
Oh, 5 Beach Street, Cortez, Colorado. Or 75 Beach Street.
Someplace on beach.
5, 75, all those. Still the same issue with me. I'm curious now that the council has had time to, as you recall, I would like to see the zoning changed in the industrial area. I think we've had a lot of talk about the last couple of meetings or meeting before about the city did a lot of research on the effects and so on and so forth. So I did have, and I did give Shane to Sam this information on the air purification system. I don't know if you've got that or not. I have another copy of it here for you. As far as, you know, being able to purify the air in a growing operation. So I was just curious where the council is. Do you need more questions? Are you guys ready to look at it? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think we're still waiting to.
Well, and this is where I think we are, and again, council could say we're somewhere else. So we presented information on how many facilities we had, kind of research on the grows and the impacts of the industrial park, and we also discussed kind of the re-inspections, you know, and we also discussed the hours of operation. And council gave staff 2 pieces of direction. We said, we want you to bring back an ordinance for changing hours of operations. And you said, we want to know more about whether or not we're spending more time on re-inspection fees and what that is doing to staff. And we've got the PD right now tracking that a little bit better, and we're going to bring that back to council. So that's all the direction that we've got. So I tell you that staff isn't working on anything else because we presented to council, and that's what I walked away with is you were really interested in pursuing those 2 matters and not the industrial park growth. So that's where I think we are, and that's what I told Mr. Rogers, you know, that is where I thought we were.
Council, anybody want to jump in here?
It was pertaining to what I mean, this is a discussion. I guess I was actually thinking that we had talked a little bit about more legal clarifications based on what was Mr. Rogers was asking about the industrialized area.
And I kind of walked away with the same impression Shane just explained. So if I need to do something, I'll get right after it, but I don't remember a direction.
Okay. So the 2 things that we did, though, clarify were the extended hours.
No, we did the ordinance.
Right. And so, yeah.
Well, and we haven't gotten information,
Well,
have we?
you're
We haven't
gonna
gotten
do-
anything back yet from,
Inspection
From-
costs.
the police department about
Did not.
additional amount of time or any of that kind of
Well,
stuff, or how much time is
no.
being spent at this
I,
point?
what the police, yeah, that was on the reinspection that we were going
Right.
to, we're gonna still do that. So, we presented everything that we were able to find with other grow operations around the state, and we just kind of went through that information on what we thought impacts could be. You know, I think we, gave you some zoning distances and thought, okay, this is how many facilities we could have based on distances, and we just presented, I think, every question the council had kind of brought up, and it, at that first meeting, we brought back, we did research and brought it back to you. So again, we're just kind of, the direction I got was hours of operation, and, you know, brings back some more information on the reinspection.
So, Mr. Rogers, one thing that we're waiting on is the evidence, the built-up evidence on the inspection process that our law enforcement has to go through. And we were all kind of curious, and I guess that's kind of where I was going with the legality part of it. If it was-
And I couldn't start
If
looking
it was
at the-
misdirected, I apologize.
No,
That's
no.
not, that was my point. And so we're kind of waiting to see some of those numbers to look at, you know, the financial side of that as well as the availability side of that as well. So we're waiting to see some more of those numbers when they come in.
John, I
but
apologize, I'm really having a hard time hearing you guys. You might think about maybe some speakers or something.
Well, we have a speaker right here, sir, and I'm,
No, I just can't hear what you're saying.
well,
We're
we're waiting on some information from the police department to look at the logistics, the financial, and the availability side of the amount of time that they spend doing inspections, right? And those are pretty valuable numbers in the sense they really make up a lot of what the police department has to do in order to make these, make sure these operations are serving the community properly and legally. But prior to us seeing that information, it's really hard for us to necessarily look at things from a standpoint of a huge grow operation when we're still dealing kind of with these finer points of the shops we have in town now. So we're kind of waiting to see some of that information.
Well, actually, it's basically about the same size as the grow operation is up on the hill. With a
Well-
with a big green flag, about the same size of building.
Well, we're still trying to look at, we haven't seen that information yet.
Is that coming up pretty soon, or we got a time frame on that? Forgive me for asking, but, you know, I've brought this to council, I'm just curious what is going on, when it's gonna go on, and if, you know, we're doing, just have people interested in the building, and I need something to tell them, you know, or is that information gonna be back? Because this was 2 months ago that we came, and I'm just curious if anything's gonna happen on it, or what we're looking at and how that's gonna proceed. I didn't have any information, I didn't get any input from the city manager's office, so I just wanted to see.
Well, I
what
did
was
respond to your
going on.
email, Mark.
I'm sorry?
I did respond to your email.
Right, but didn't, no basic information, that's why I just, you know.
Right. Well, I said the direction I got and what we've done with it. So I gave you as accurate of information as I could as far as where we are with it right now.
Right. Okay, so what, forgive me for pushing, but what's the plan? Are we gonna do some more research on it then? And when are we gonna come back to council in a couple of months or
Well-
a month or?
Our plan, I mean, what I got from council, and again, Councilman Hill, I'm not sure, you know, because I know you guys are looking at a lot of information. I mean, for me, the question was more generally on reinspection and whether or not, you know, when we do that, if it comes up a lot, if our PD is, if we need to charge more for those fees, and council can use that information as much as you want to determine whether or not you want to extend into the industrial park. But right now, I'm not conducting any more research on whether it should go into the industrial park or not. I mean, we presented what we presented, and if council says, geez, we need more information here or there, we can do that. But, so right now, I'm not really working on the industrial park issue. We're working on tracking for the PD on the re-inspections. I think we wanted to look at it 3 or 4 months, and then we're going to present it to council. So I think in a couple more months, we haven't actually set a date. I know the PD's working on it, and I think that when we feel like we have enough information that we can draw something from, we plan on going back to council with it, but
So you did go to other cities and research what they're doing and
and
was there?
that was all part of the presentation that I gave to council. That was,
Right.
we had done research on a lot of other grows and their impacts.
Right, okay. So, I guess, what's
So I-
council
so I-
gonna do
So I
then?
think we're still waiting for some
Okay.
facts and figures on that. And to be perfectly honest, Mark, we've been awfully busy with, and I know this doesn't help you, but
Sure.
we've been awfully busy with a lot of the other construction things that are on our plates right now with the hospital and Osprey and the new courthouse and
Sure.
the new city hall. And so, that's kind of been, those have been really dominant things on our plate to be able to take care of, just because they have to, some of
Right.
those decisions have to be made ASAP in order for the projects to move
Oh,
forward.
well,
so.
I've got people asking me, I'm just trying to figure out what the progression will be, or if any, or what have you. So,
Well, I think once we get some additional figures, and I can ask Shane that once this comes up on the agenda again, for him to give you a heads up. I suspect you probably
Okay.
go online to see what's going to be on each council agenda, but I can have, ask that he get you notification when this is up before council again,
But
so that you have a
But
heads
again, I
up.
mean, the only thing that's coming to council is gonna be an update on the PD's research.
Right.
It's really not gonna be, really on point with roads in the industrial park. It'll just be that the last thing that is working on, so,
Is this something we need to put on the agenda for the workshop or something?
it could be, I don't know what you wanna put on though. You know, at this point, it's either, I think, council giving us direction saying, look, we want an ordinance to rezone in the industrial park, we want an ordinance to add it, or we're not interested in pursuing it. I mean, we could give you more information in the workshop, but I don't know why that would be. I think it's just kind of, what's a council action? You know, is it, we wanna pursue this idea and bring us back an ordinance that allows it? Or we don't want to pursue the idea, or we want more information and you just tell us what that is and we can try to get that.
The other thing you have coming is your land use code is coming up, so I mean, if you want to wait till after that, or, those are good considerations too. So I mean,
To me though, it's really just, now that council's been given the information, it's something that you're interested in pursuing, or it's not. If it's something that you're really interested in pursuing and you want to see an ordinance that allows it, we can work on that and bring that back. If it's, and that may dictate some workshop, because we would still need to discuss, well, is it 500 feet, is it 1,000 feet, all those other things. But right now, we just don't have, I'm not, other than what PD's doing, staff isn't working on anything on this issue.
Yeah, we've seen, do you remember the maps and everything we looked
Yeah,
at, the
how
feasibility
far
of,
apart, and- yeah.
and the different locations that they could be at. And my point is, I want to see data prior to even entertaining allowing this in the industrial area to see how busy the police department really is, with the amount of things that they're responsible for conducting with the individual businesses we already have. And I think that's a real driving force on my part, is that it's a real time-consuming effort on their part to add more places that they have to be responsible for in a place that you really can't delegate actually how many places could actually be there right now. That could be extremely burdensome to our already taxed police force. So I want to see those numbers before I entertain anything else, personally. That's me personally.
Well, but I, to kind of go along with that a little bit, you requested that there would be a ordinance change in the...
To allow growing operation,
And
correct?
so we need to be working on getting you an answer,
That would be good.
or refuse you, one of the two. I don't think we should leave you hanging too long, so. My idea is we should, if there's a question, somebody should be looking into it. I'd be glad to.
Then maybe that needs to be something.
The question is do we want
Right, but
Do we-
that's
That was
a question
posed
for
to us
council to
already.
answer, though. It's not for, it's.
Oh, no.
It's a council answer, so it's not for, I mean, quite frankly, on this deal, I think staff's role is to just do whatever research you ask and present it to you, so this isn't coming with a staff recommendation either way, this is just coming with, here's the data, council, do you want us to write an ordinance or not? So, quite frankly, I feel like that it's really a council decision to make, just on whether you want to see it or not.
So should we put it on the work session for next week to discuss whether we're gonna vote it up or down, or
Well, I
what we're
think
gonna do, or?
if
Because
I
I
had
don't
to-
think we should do nothing.
If I had to follow up on something, it'd be what Councilman Keel said. And one of the things that we have here is this is a totally, an operation that we don't get sales tax from, we don't get city revenue. And so we were looking at, and this is what this information will do, is how do we cover the costs of the additional inspections, if there are any? So if law enforcement's going in, how much do we have to charge these people that are running that business for the inspections? And these are the things that we're gonna come back to you with once we had some information. And I think that's why we were talking about another couple months to see what that information was. Because we do have some substantial growth, so we can look at them and see what's going on with them and come back to you guys and say, hey, if you do this, we're gonna have to charge this fellow for a license $5,000 instead of $2,500 because it costs us this much to administer his type of operation. And so we don't have that information yet, and correct me if I'm wrong, we were talking maybe another 2 months to get it.
Right, and again, I can bring council back whatever you'd like to see. I mean, Councilman Keel does have a good point as far as, in his decision, I understand why he would weigh on that, for that decision, but, other than that, I'm not really working on anything to deal with growth in the industrial park. It's not on my plate at all.
It's going to require us to make a change in,
It's gonna
in a
require council to make,
regulation,
A
and,
lot of changes.
Right,
You know-
and I knew you weren't working on anything else. I need to see
Perfect.
information because ultimately it's our decision. And that's why I'm waiting to see that information. And as a councilman, that's my prerogative, to wait and see that information prior to even thinking about moving forward or not moving forward. It's like, I need
Well,
to fill my coffers.
as a citizen, I'm asking the council to research this and give me an answer. And, can we not? If we cannot, then why? If it's a matter of a cost for additional police, is that cost? What is it? I would, that's why I came to council, came to the little research thing to see if we could get some kind of an answer. If it can happen, if it can't happen, then why can't it happen? What are the reasons for that? And so that's, as a citizen and owner of property there, that's what I am asking. It's pretty simple, and, I don't know if there's that much research that needs to be done. I'm sure the police department could give you an idea rather quickly. I don't know why it would take a couple of months. I'm just sorry, but I would like to have an answer. I have people waiting to see if we can do that, if we can bring in more jobs to the area, if we can do more economic development and so on. You have that area up there that several buildings that as soon as Osprey gets into their new building, they're going to be vacant, not earning the city anything. And so if we can turn some of those buildings into productive, money-making operations for the city and for everybody, it's worth looking at. So I know you guys got a lot on your plate, but, I've asked about this several times and don't seem to be getting anywhere, so I'm asking again.
Roy, did you want to,
I'm sorry?
did you have,
What I wanted to give you was a cycle of 2 inspections, which is 3.5 months. The reason I want to do that is because when I give you the numbers, I want them to be true, and I want them something that I can defend, or something that, if I'm questioned, I have an answer for. If I do it with one inspection, that's not, them are not good numbers. So that's the reason I don't have that data right now, is we're getting ready to go through the second inspection now, so that's where we're at.
Thanks, Chief.
Does that help, Mark?
That's good information.
All right,
That's good information.
great.
And so, then I see that's another month or so, or what do you guys, what are y'all thinking? Is that,
Well, we can't give you a set time on that. Like, I don't have a set time when that will happen, exactly. An approximate.
A ballpark figure, I would say.
I would say 2 months is pretty accurate as far as what Shane said, and then he's got on second second set of inspections, then a month for the third, and then some time for him to actually get his data together. I would say 2 to 3 months would be pretty accurate.
and I might say that if it's determined that, you know, that license fees for an operation like this, you know, is gonna be X amount of dollars, because it's gonna require more, you know, response, or time, more of the police department's time, happy to, you know, deal with that. And if it needs to be a higher price, I don't think that's a problem, just gotta know what it is, and what it's gonna be, what it's gonna entail, and I don't think these people that are wanting to rent my building, I don't think that's a problem for them. So, anyway,
Okay,
so a couple of months, I'll look for something. Would that be a response from Shane on that, or come back to city council for a talk with you guys, or come to the special meeting in the pre-meeting?
It would be, we can definitely let you know, Mark, when
Okay.
Roy's given his presentation.
Okay.
But I don't know, the council, after getting that, they may want something else. I don't want to set the expectation that at that presentation, you say, okay, I know I'm for it or I'm against it.
Yeah.
I mean, you may, but I just,
I'd say a good rule of thumb
I'd
is
just
to
like to
keep
see,
an eye-
I'd like to see moving forward on something, you know, yay, nay, no, something.
you just
Would
want a
be
firm
good.
answer. Okay,
All right, thank you.
all right, thanks.
Mr. Rogers.
Is there anyone else that would like to come and speak before council? All right, I will close it to citizen participation. There is no city attorney's report. Possible update?
yes, Your Honor. So, engineering staff is going to be doing a walkthrough this Wednesday at Paradise Village. This is a walkthrough for project completion punch list items. So, once we've actually gone through and kind of got the punch list, we should have a much better idea of when the final we're going to actually get out of there. But it's we can see the silver lining of that cloud now. We're almost out of Paradise Village. So, well, you know, that happens this week. Secondly, we just sent out, within the last week or so, all the tax rebates for the We're in This Together Economic Development Resolution. This was the last year of the rebate, so council adopted this in 2012. It was for tax years 13, 14, and 15. We just got the 2015 tax rebates out, and we just had, again, with our financial software, when we ran the first report, I was dubious about it. I thought there's no way it's this much, and it wasn't that much, so I'm glad we waited. But it took us longer than we had first anticipated. So this year, we ended up rebating to locals $39,387. Last year, it was $33,502. And again, that number represents 10% of the growth that we saw with those businesses as well. So the city collected $390,000 more dollars to rebate that $39,000. So anyway, so now that program's over, and I just want to let you know that went out. I know at least one person who got a check. Yeah, and I've had a few.
I'm going to Burger King.
Yeah, I hope you have a coupon.
I guess it's better that I can do that than that.
Right. So anyway, those are the two updates.
Okay.
So you might be able to test, sorry,
I'm sorry, Greg.
maybe you can test the drainage and everything with this rain, huh? On Paradise Village?
We actually have, and I want to say it was a couple weeks ago, when we got a real good downpour, engineering staff was up there taking a look at it. And I might have even put that in my weekly report, and if not, I apologize, but the rain actually, all the drainage systems up there worked really well. So we're pleased with that. But we have little things like now, like, people's sprinkler systems back in, like damage to curbs and stuff with equipment. I mean, it's just all the punch list things to go through. So we may still be a while. I mean, we're substantially complete, but, we're, gonna hold their feet to the fire on all the punch
Are
lists.
you having the residents run out into the middle of the street and say, we love our new
Well,
water pipes and our new street. It was worth dragging our groceries through the snow.
Right. I did tell you, when I went through on one of my inspections on one of the new stretches of asphalt that had just gone in that morning, there were two little girls riding their bikes on it with big smiles, and I wished I had a camera or something on me to take that picture. So I thought, that's almost made it worth this last 18 months. Just,
I know a couple of little boys maybe you could take down there and
Yeah.
just get their picture.
yeah, I'm sure.
Or a couple little boys there. Okay, is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Committee reports.
I have one, Mayor. Parks and Rec had a meeting on August 19th, and at that meeting, we had the School Community Youth Collaborative, which was headed up by Cindy Houston and Mary Jo Standard. And they had two areas, or one area that they talked about was the how to get our youth involved on our advisory boards and how to get them to be productive members on those boards. And the board also discussed a little bit more on that master scoring matrix on future projects for the Parks and Recs. And that was where we went.
Good. Anybody else? Has Makeda met since we met last time?
No,
No, they met
That
2
was-
weeks ago.
Okay.
yeah, they met 2 weeks ago.
Okay. The workshop report, we had a very informative airport certification and airline update from Mr. Russ Machen, who is under strict time constraints. Just kind of giving us some background information on certification, because the new airlines that will be coming on board in October don't have the same airport requirements as the previous certification. There was some discussion as to whether we might want to allow our airport to drop down in rating in order to save us some expenditures. Then we had an update on the beautification program, implementing the access,
Control plan.
the what?
Access control plan.
Access, yes. Yes, the access control plan that CDOT did for us, and just talked about how we might proceed, the cost of implementing various parts of not only safety issues, but beautification as well. And we also, Phil gave us some information on water treatment backwash pond and some things that are in the works for taking care of that. And then we had some general discussion, and that was about all that we talked about at the workshop. Is there anything else for the good of the city?